Right, so a few days ago, we covered the updates in the Jeanette Braun and Lauren The Mortician versus Becca Day, Lily Marston, Jessie Smiles and Caffeinated Kitty lawsuit. And today we have even more updates, because in the last video, we mainly looked at Caffeinated Kitty's response. But in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Jessie Smiles, Lily Marston and Becca Day's response. But before we get into the responses, and by the way, they're very good, right? They're basically showing how Jeanette Braun is a little stupid. But first, I actually did come across this video from Radiant Brit, where she actually shows a live stream of Lauren The Mortician recently. And in said live stream, she responds to the haters.
I never know where the haters lurk. There's probably some in here now, but that's okay. It is what it is.
Now, honestly, I will never not find it hilarious when people unironically call other people haters. But secondly, can someone please tell me the definition of haters? Because if you're really going to use the word haters in a serious sense, then I would assume a hater would be someone who's hating on you for no reason. Now, unless I'm wrong and the word haters actually just means people who are calling you out on your shitty behaviour, I'm pretty sure she's using it wrong.
If I see someone and I feel like they are going to disrupt my peace or the vibes are off, I'm going to block you. And then, if you throw a little fit about it, like if you like, oh my god, I got blocked. I just want you to know, I laugh so hard. It brings me joy.
Lauren, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you're not fooling anyone. The way she's talking here is hilarious to me for many different reasons. Like the way she's talking here saying that if someone says something that she doesn't like, she's just gonna block them, and goes further on to say, oh, and then these people start having like a fit about it and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you blocked me, and she finds that hilarious apparently. But Lauren, last time somebody said something that you didn't agree with, you took them to court. I don't think you're in a position to take the piss out of people if they have a fit about being blocked. When someone said something you didn't like, you're literally suing them. That is quite literally one of the biggest overreactions you can ever have to a situation like this.
Somehow get off when people block you. Oh my gosh, I just can't even imagine that that's all you have to do in life.
All you have to do in life? You're literally in the middle of a lawsuit for no reason. Do you not have better things to do than be in a fucking lawsuit for the pettiest reasons ever? But either way, I just wanted to show that because when I heard the things that she was saying, I found them very, very ironic to say the least. But before we do get any further into the video, I do just want to say we are getting ridiculously close to 500,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you haven't already subscribed and you want to help out, please do, because we're really not that far off and it would be great. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. But now let's get to the lawsuit itself. And first of all, starting with Becca Day's response, where she has filed a motion to dismiss. Now again, as always, I do need to give big credit to Runkle of the Bailey for making this video, going through the lawsuit. He does a much more detailed video than I ever could. He's an actual attorney. He knows what he's talking about. I would highly recommend going to check out his video if you want to see all the details. Now I'm not going to talk about every single part of these responses because they are very similar to the Caffeinated Kitty response in terms of just saying like what Jeanette is saying has no legs at all, right? She's not showing any facts to back up her claims. But there are some funny and interesting bits that I do want to talk about. So let's first of all start with Becca Day's introduction. Plaintiff Jeanette Braun filed this complaint against defendant Rebecca Day in an improper effort to silence Day and the other unrelated individuals, who have independently voiced opinions about Braun on social media that she deems unflattering. Braun contends that Day has defamed her through her posts and/or stories that Day has posted on her personal account on the social media platform TikTok, in which Day has referred to Braun as unethical and rogue, and expressed her sensitive belief that Braun has filed false copyright strikes under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act on behalf of her clients, including her co-plaintiff Lauren Propson. And then Becca's attorney goes on to say what everyone is thinking and says that this isn't defamation, this is just opinions. Which is kind of like how all these responses can really be boiled down if you want to make it as simple as possible. Because it's true. These people just said their opinions on social media, and now they're being sued for it. It makes zero sense. And then we get to a section going through these alleged defamatory statements that Jeanette Braun and Lauren Propson are claiming here. Now, this part I find very funny because Becca's attorney goes on to basically call out Lockyer, who's like the attorney here, or Jeanette Braun. It's a bit up in the air who actually wrote this. People think Jeanette Braun wrote it and just put Lockyer's name on it. Either way, they seem to be very similar people who studied law at the exact same place, a place that apparently doesn't have the best reviews in the world, and it's clear to see that. But Becca's attorney goes on to say, in support of this allegation, the complaint sets forth a screenshot of a reply to a comment allegedly posted by Day stating, I posted proof on my page that your legal name is attached to the false copyright strikes. Don't know why you are behaving like this on the internet. The complaint does not identify to whom the comment is directed, when the comment allegedly was posted, or where on the internet the comment allegedly was posted. So basically what they're saying here is that Jeanette's attorney Lockyer is not doing his job right. Which seems to be a big theme in these videos, right? We said the exact same thing about the Illuminati lawsuit that we covered. Like, when these attorneys are quoting statements and talking about statements that have been said, they need to give details. Where was it posted? Who was it directed to? When was it posted? But for some reason, these attorneys, who I'm assuming are a bit more unexperienced, aren't doing these simple things. And then Becca's attorney goes on to further prove this by showing another statement that was in the complaint, but again, never says where it was, when it was, who it was directed to. Like, how are you going to prove that something is defamation if you can't even prove who it was directed to or where it was posted? Like, obviously she would be able to prove, like, where it was posted and whatnot, but they just haven't. They're too lazy, apparently. Now, this next part is even more interesting, because it goes on to say, finally, the complaint alleges that Dave posted a story on TikTok stating that the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission told Day they received multiple credible complaints about Jeanette Braun, and that they have assigned multiple attorneys to investigate this matter. And the reason why this is so funny is because it goes on to say, the complaint contains no allegation that this statement is false. Rather, it states that upon information and belief, the ARDC does not comment or provide input on the merits of an investigation to anyone calling to inquire about a registered attorney. So what they're saying is here, even in Jeanette's own response, she doesn't say that this is factually incorrect. What Rebecca Days said here about the commission is factually incorrect. She doesn't say that. She just says, upon information and belief, I reckon they probably wouldn't even told her that. Again, that is not a way to prove defamation. And they go through a bunch of other parts about the complaints that have no facts behind them, and they conclude this section by saying, the complaint does not include any claim for defamation asserted by Propson against Day. Braun fails to state a claim for defamation against Day for a variety... fucking hell, why is that so hard to say? Oh my fucking god, what is going on? For a variety. Why is that so hard to say when the words are like that? For a variety of reasons. That'll do. For a variety. But that is a tongue twister and a half. Okay, right, I'm going to carry on. Now, at this point, they go on to talk about Becca Day's comments, saying that Braun is unethical and a rogue attorney, all this stuff, and just basically state, it's an opinion. Which, again, is the main theme here. Like, these 4 women are getting sued for opinions. And then we get to another point of this response, which is, again, very, very funny. So this next section, again, is about Rebecca Day being told, or allegedly being told by the commission about Jeanette Braun and being, like, investigated and whatnot. The complaint alleges that Day posted a TikTok story in which he stated that the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission told Day that they received multiple credible complaints about Braun and that they have assigned multiple attorneys to investigate this matter. It is unclear whether Braun's defamation claim is based on this allegation, as count 3 refers to only the unethical and false copyright claim allegations. So basically what they're saying here is because of the way that their complaint was like so unorganized, they don't even know if there's a real claim that Braun is trying to make. Like, did she just mention the whole commission thing just to throw it in there, or is she actually claiming that this is defamation? It's unclear. And then they basically go on to say that this is not actionable anyways because she doesn't even say it's false. Braun doesn't say that statement is false, and that's a big part of claiming defamation. And again, in the theme of Becca's attorney basically just saying, like, what are you going on about here? It makes zero sense. They go on to talk about Lauren the Mortician here and says, curiously, Propson has asserted a claim for IIED, which is intentional infliction of emotional distress, against Day based entirely on Day's alleged defamatory statements about Propson. However, Propson did not assert a defamation claim against Day, and the complaint is devoid of any allegations of defamatory statements made by Day about Propson. So basically what they're saying here is that Lauren the Mortician has asserted a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress for these defamatory statements, but didn't actually ever mention any defamatory statements. So again, what you're going on about? And then the ending of this same paragraph is brilliant because it goes on to say, whether this claim was simply a typographical error or an effort by plaintiffs to see what sticks, Propson's IIED claim against Day based on non-existent defamatory statements fails and must be dismissed. I just love that bit because you can imagine like Jeanette Braun and Lockyer reading this and being like, oh, these little bastards. I mean, realistically, they probably did put it in to just see what sticks, but I love the idea of Becca's attorney base saying, it might just be a typo. Like, it's that stupid that it must be an error. But either way, let's move over to the response from the Do We Know Them podcast, Lily Marston and Jessie Smiles. Again, not going to go through all of it because a lot of it is very similar to what we've already covered, but we'll go through some key points anyways that I want to talk about. So the introduction is similar to the other stuff that we've already mentioned, going through the history of this, right? The fact that the podcast is talking about like online gossip and whatnot, and they spoke about Braun trying to silence them, the stuff we already know. But then we get to a very interesting part at the very end of this introduction that says, all 4 causes of action asserted by Braun against Marston and Vasquez should be stricken under the applicable anti-slap statutes and or dismissed under Fed, Civ, Brock, you know, all the law stuff. enough. And Marcin and Vasquez should be awarded their attorney fees. So you might have noticed in Becca Day's response there's no mention of the anti-slap statute, but in Caffeinated Kitties there was, and also in the response from the Do We Know Them podcast there is. Which means that there is a possibility that if the court agrees to this, Lauren the Mortician and Jeanette Braun might have to pay a lot. And I'm going to assume that the attorney fees are not cheap, to say the least, because they did make a GoFundMe for the attorney fees and a lot of money was raised. And you never know, maybe, eventually, Lauren the Mortician might realise that Jeanette Braun isn't all she's cracked up to be. Because we all know by now, the fact that Jeanette Braun is an attorney is a bit laughable at this point, but Lauren the Mortician seems to have a lot of faith in Jeanette, to the point where it seems like Jeanette has convinced Lauren to even be involved in his lawsuit. But if the conclusion of this results in Lauren the Mortician having to pay a ridiculous amount of money for these attorney fees, maybe that might be enough for her to realise, okay, I've been fucked over massively here. I mean, of course, she is still very responsible for this, but Jeanette Braun is an actual attorney. The fact that she has got one of her clients into this mess is ridiculous. Like, she should definitely know better. She should know that they don't have a claim here and they've just went through with it anyways. Okay, so they go on to talk about the alleged defamatory statements that were made. It's the usual stuff, right? They made videos saying that Braun's practices were unethical and they disagreed with what she was doing. But the part of this section that really does sum up just how stupid this is, because they have had to actually say, in a real lawsuit, by the way, where they're talking about these alleged complaints, that one of them is intentionally mispronouncing Braun's name. This is a real lawsuit where one of the complaints was someone mispronouncing their name. What the fuck are you gonna sue someone over for that? Is it defamation to call someone Janet instead of Jeanette? Obviously not, and I do just want to play this part from Runkle the Bailey's video that I did find very funny when he's talking about Jeanette Braun.
Janet, I've got a strong contempt for. She sucks.
I don't know why I just love that. It's how blunt he is with it. Janet sucks. And you know what, Runkle the Bailey, mate? I couldn't agree more. Now, to finish off here, towards the end of this response, they do go on to say, if the court determines that Marcin's and Vasquez's conduct is not a protected activity under applicable anti-slap statute, Marcin and Vasquez respectfully request that the court dismiss the claims under rule so-and-so. Basically saying that if the court believe that this doesn't fall under anti-slap statute, they still want to have this case dismissed. Which, I mean, kind of in a way, hopefully that doesn't happen, even though it would be dismissed, which is great for the people involved, but it would be great if Jeanette and Lauren have to pay the attorney fees. That would be a brilliant outcome to this. Now, like I mentioned before, I didn't cover this whole lawsuit. I just picked out bits that I wanted to talk about. If you do want to see a full in-depth analysis on this entire lawsuit, both of them, both the responses, I would definitely go over to Runkle the Bailey's video where he's done very detailed videos and he knows exactly what he's talking about and you can learn a lot more about it. I'll leave his link in the description. But either way, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do a like down below, subscribe if you are new. Also, let me know your opinions and everything we spoke about in the comment section down below. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.